Hey everyone, welcome back to Elemental Cartomancy. Today I am coming on to do a VR to Ramon. This is hashtag one tarot card. I'm 10 prompts, and each of the prompts requires you to answer with a single tarot card that you would answer the question with. So without further ado, prompt number one: which card is the most inspiring to you? And for me, this is the Sun. I'm just the joy that it invokes, the healing energy that we get from the sun. I mean, the sun card is representative of healing energy, but also our own sun, is where we get vitamin D from. Um, Really, really good for us both physically and, mentally, emotionally. Also I see the sun a wee bit as where we kind of come to terms with the great stuff about ourselves, the divine within ourselves. And that's kind of come from studying the Mariel tarot deck. The sun, on the Fool's Journey, the sun is when he realized that, this higher power that he's been searching for, or this divine God that he's been looking for, was within him all along. And of course, it's the idea that there's a piece of the divine within us all, that spark of life. So, yeah, that's why the sun is the most inspiring to me. Prompt number two: which card is the most distressing to you? So, for me, that's the Five of Cups. I mean, lots of situations that we kind of all go through in life that are distressing, but for me, the thing that I'm kind of a maybe fear the most or most worried about, the things in life that I've found most difficult are losing the people that I love. And that to me, that kind of a bereavement is embodied in the Five of Cups. So pure and simple, I don't want to lose the people that I'm close to, the people that I care about. I don't want to lose those connections. So the Five of Cups is maybe the most distressing card to me. Prompt number three: which card is the most enigmatic to you? So that would be the High Priestess. Both because the High Priestess is that enigma. She does embody that, that enigmatic energy. Um, but also because the High Priestess is a card that I have, quite oftentimes struggled to read when it's come up in a spread. Not because I don't know the basics of what the High Priestess means, but I find that she's quite often difficult to put into context. And I suppose that's just in her nature. She is kind of like mysterious and unknowable. And that I feel that definitely reflects when she shows up in readings. So that's why I find the High Priestess is the most enigmatic. The next prompt: which card would you put in a 1,000-year time capsule for future humankind? This is actually the prompt that I had to think about for the longest. I actually left this one to the end, but I've got the Fool. Um, you know, I think, well, for one thing, I think if you were describing something that traveled 1,000 years into the future, which is the nature of the question, it probably would be kind of a full energy that would embody that because it represents being in a situation where you've got no kind of a concept of the environment that you're in, you've no idea what's going on around about you. And you probably would come off as a bit of a fool, if not worse, in that situation. So I think the fool's quite a clever card just to embody the prompt, I suppose, in and of itself. Um, but also, I mean, I suppose the Fool, and in particular this Fool from the Light Seers, it embodies kind of a trust in the universe and trusting that the universe has got your back and stuff like that. And I think that that's quite a nice concept to, for any time that we're in. So this would probably be the card that I would send 1,000 years into the future. The next one is: if you were elected president of a newly created country, which card would you use as a flag? Three of Pentacles. Um, I think that it's important that in any society that people work together, and they work together to meet common goals. Everyone's going to have their own point of view, but I think that it's important that we can come together, and put aside differences and yeah, just I suppose collaborate, and I think that that would be quite a good. It, it's the kind of a ethos, it's the kind of thinking that I would want to kind of bring into a new country if I was to be elected president. And also the three is quite a young number, you know. It's quite the three of any suit is you're still, you know, it's still early on. We're still kind of like finding our feet. We're still getting used to things. We're learning how to build this thing, whatever it is that we're trying to build. So I think that it's quite a nice card to just represent that situation in and of itself. The next prompt is if you were Earth, so this is prompt six. If you were Earth's ambassador to an alien civilization, which card would you use to represent humankind? So I've chosen the Chariot. Both because the Chariot is it's a nice card that represents, you know, working hard to achieve your goals, to drive your life forwards. And you know, I think that as humans, that's what, or you know, I suppose as any kind of a species, that's what we try and do. Also, though, the Chariot has a bit of a deeper meaning. If you liken it to Plato's Chariot, you know, this idea of the human soul being made up of the white horse, which is our higher self, our higher purpose, you know, like the part of us that wants to do what's best and, you know, wants to, you know, do what's best for the greater good. And then there's the black horse, which is the base self. It's the instincts. It's your needs. It's your kind of a primal self that, you know, the way you might look at it is it wants to serve itself. And then you've got the charioteer, who is the kind of a voice of reason between the two, and it represents free will. You know, taking all of these things in and kind of um, I suppose, finding some balance and using that balance to drive the chariot forwards. So that idea of free will, I think, is quite important in, I suppose, describing what a human is, I think. Prompt number seven is which card represents someone that you love? So my someone that I love that I'm trying to represent here is my husband, and I would go for the Page of Swords. Um, my husband is very quick-witted. He's always making me laugh, usually at inappropriate times, which is why I've kind of had one of the reasons that I've gone towards the page rather than one of the other kind of a courts. Um, yeah, very clever, very kind of innovative. He loves to cook, and he loves kind of a finding new ways of cooking. You know, he loves putting together his own new recipes, and he's a fantastic cook. And there's a real kind of an intellectual side to it, but there's a real passionate side to it as well for him. Uh, so yeah, that like he's a Gemini as well. So for all these reasons, the Page of Swords is what I've chosen to represent my husband. And this Page of Swords is particularly, I always enjoy the way that the sword is being used in a different way, to scale the two mountains, you know. I think it's quite clever, and I think that you know, in that same respect, he is quite clever. Um, yeah, so the Page of Swords for my husband. The Page of Cups is which card would you choose as the cover for your autobiography? So I probably see myself as the Page of Cups, and that's why I would choose this card as the cover of my autobiography. I won't lie, there's a kind of a part of me that's saying, you know, I'll write an autobiography when pigs fly, so it's quite an appropriate representation of the Page of Cups for that. But yeah, I very much see myself. If I was to choose a significator card for myself, it would be the Page of Cups. Just because I suppose I'm quite an emotional person. Um, Sometimes struggle with that side of myself. So the page is kind of a less, I suppose, less mature. If that's the best way to put it, less mature energy in that suit is maybe why, you know, maybe something that I would choose more to represent myself. Um, Also, he does kind of a look as though he's got his head up his ass a wee bit, and that is kind of me, if I'm being fair. Um, the next prompt, prompt number nine, If you could upgrade a minor card to major status, what would it be? This was quite a difficult one as well because I don't know. Well, my brain, I like everything to be in its place and where it should be. So the idea of taking something out of one of the suits and yeah, I don't know. So I had to kind of put that bit aside. I had to kind of just put the idea of the numbers and the suits and stuff aside and say, right, what do these, what concept is it that I would want to amplify or, evolve into being a major arcanum? So I've picked the Three of Cups. So the majors, it's all about self-development. It's all about, enlightenment, the person's own path to enlightenment. But one thing that I feel is quite important to know is that we can't develop without interacting with other people. We have to have these as human beings, and everyone is individual. Everyone, has their own needs, and this will apply to some more than others. But to some degree, we all, as humans, need to have interaction with other people in order to develop. You know, if you kind of go through your whole life, you know, just kind of being in your own head and, in your own wee world, in your own bubble, I'd, if that was me, I don't think I would develop at all. So to me, it's always important to have that kind of interaction, to have that socialization, and to bounce things off of other people, to have a good time, to see like experience the lighter side of life, um, as well as to have people there to tell me when I'm getting things wrong, and it's we learn from our mistakes as much as anything else. So the Three of Cups, I think, is that's the energy that I would amplify to major status. And then finally, if you could mentor one of the pages, which would it be? Well, I'm bringing back the Page of Cups for this answer because, well, for one thing, because I see myself as the Page of Cups, I think I would be able to teach the Page of Cups more than I could teach any other page. But as someone who does kind of teach or tutor uh, people, I'm a maths tutor. One thing that I've found is and this applies to, in my experience, this applies to all kids that I've ever taught, all people that I've ever taught, really. Um, Regardless of whether you're trying to, teach something intellectual, if you're trying to impart a piece of knowledge, or if you're trying to teach something practical, try to show someone how to do something. One thing that's common across all teaching is that you need to build that person's confidence. 9 times out of 10, if someone is struggling with something, it's their self-confidence that needs addressed the most. If you can give someone that confidence, if you can boost someone's confidence in themselves, then if you can deal with that, then you can do anything. You can teach the intellectual stuff, you can teach the practical stuff. Um, and for me, the Page of Cups, I, if you were to ask me which page is probably lacks confidence and struggles with their confidence the most, I would definitely say the Page of Cups. So my thinking here is if you can teach the Page of Cups, you can teach anyone, really. If you can boost that confidence, if you can kind of bring out that self-confidence in someone else, then you can do anything. So that's the reason why I've picked the Page of Cups. And that's us. Those are the 10 prompts. Those are my 10 answers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has been enjoyable. If you're watching this and you're a content creator and you've not yet done the tag, then I would encourage you to do so because I've really enjoyed it. Thank you again to Ramon for coming up with this. I think it was really clever and I've really enjoyed doing it. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.